Let's get more insights from BAYAN President Renato Reyes. He joins us on the line this evening. Sir, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, so first of all, what is your reaction on the opening statements presented today before the pretrial chamber?
Well, of course, everybody acknowledges this is a historic moment for the Philippines, especially for the victims. And it is quite chilling the way that the prosecutors presented their opening statements, detailing how a national network functioned to carry out the drug war policies, and how the different pronouncements coming from the president emboldened the commission of human rights violations on such a wide scale that has not been seen in decades. So we feel for the victims. This is mainly for them, and we look forward that the case will move to the next stage, and that the trial will ultimately begin.
And in your opinion, sir, do you think the prosecution fully encapsulated the systemic war on drugs of the former president in the argument that they presented earlier, because they really built their case around the structure, diba, yung common plan na sinasabi?
Yeah.
And but is that enough to prove intent on the part of the former president?
Well, I think what's important in the presentation that we heard today was that the president himself issued the orders, gave very clear, unambiguous statements regarding how he wanted to carry out the war on drugs. That the president himself gave statements that incited the state security forces to carry out killings, and how these killings are rewarded in the course of the operation. So the strongest evidence would be the statements of the president himself, and the way that the whole program was carried out by the state security forces as a reflection or implementation of the statements made by the president.
Mm-hmm. We did hear the prosecutor arguing that Mr. Duterte didn't even make it a secret. He made a lot of public statements where he said that he vows to implement the common plan during his presidency. He declared his intention to eradicate corruption and drugs in 3 to 6 months. Sabi pa niya that he will be ordering the military and police to hunt down the drug lords and the big ones and kill them. So that's where the prosecution anchored their arguments. But as expected, what the defense did is to contest that, right, sir? Sinabi nila these are just inflated statements. It's all rhetoric. What did you make of the argument of the defense?
Well, it's really hard to just dismiss the statements as hyperbole or exaggerations, because these are statements that are coming from the highest official of the land, the commander-in-chief. So any reasonable person would consider the statements made by the president as the official policy. It cannot be just simply dismissed as hyperbole, or that the president was only joking. We cannot consider these statements as mere jokes when the effect is clear. People died, thousands died. So the statements correspond to actual reality, to actual implementation. It cannot be anything other than clear policy statements and orders emanating from the highest official of the land.
Mm-hmm. And what did you make of what Attorney Joel Butuyan presented to the chamber earlier? He anchored his statements heavily on the human impact, the human implications of what the former president did. He even said that the truth will be the antidote to impunity. What did you make of that, sir?
Well, I think it's very important that the entire proceedings are anchored on the experiences of the victims. We're not just talking about statistics. We're not just looking at numbers. We have to see the actual human cost, the effects, the impact that the killings have had on families, on people, on young people who died in the course of the drug war. So it's clear these are not just numbers. There are real people who were victimized. And it's important that the entire proceedings would be anchored on the experiences of the victims.
But notably absent from the proceedings is none other than the former president. Is this move to waive his appearance, you think that's a good one, a strategic move, or the consequences outweigh that?
Well, I think from the perspective of the lawyers and the communicators of the former president, they would want to maintain this aura of defiance, refusal to recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC over his person. So on one hand, they're saying that we remain valiant, but on the other hand, they're saying that he's old, he's frail, he's sickly. So there's also that aspect of trying to get some public sympathy, even as he tries to portray himself as a defiant person who is just being persecuted unjustly by the ICC.
Well, as we reported earlier, sir, there are three possible outcomes after the confirmation of charges hearing. What do you foresee, just basing it on the opening statements that the three parties delivered earlier today?
Well, of course, being advocates of the victims, we would really want this to move forward and serve as a lesson for future leaders that this kind of impunity cannot last forever. It is important that we achieve justice and closure on this issue so that such atrocities would never be repeated in the Philippines. So let's hope for the best and let's continue supporting the victims who are fighting for justice for their families.
Do you think the arguments and evidence presented will hurdle the court's requirement of sufficiency in the evidence?
I think the prosecutors have done a meticulous job and that there are witnesses, there are people who can testify as to the existence of a policy. So I think, the prosecutors will be able to hurdle the requirements for the case to move forward.
But then again, there's that question, Sir, if the metaphorical language of the former president could already amount to intent to kill. I think that's one of the important questions that will need to be answered here, the confirmation of charges hearing, because the burden of proving that the accused here had the intent is on the prosecution, and it's the defense's job to just counter that and to belie that. So do you think mapuprove yan in the end?
Well, again, as I said, we have to connect the actual statements to the actual outcome. So if the statements were to kill, and the outcome is thousands of people being killed, then clearly there is a connection between the pronouncement and the actual policy implementation. It is really hard to hide behind the issue of hyperbole and exaggeration when actual people, thousands, died in the course of his presidency. So I think any reasonable person can see the connection between the language and statements of the president and how the drug war was carried out by the state forces.
And where are you monitoring the hearings from, sir? Are you with any of the families of the victims tonight?
Now we're here. We're here in the Philippines. We're monitoring online, and we are in close contact with our colleagues, Attorney Colmenares, Attorney Conti, Karapatan Secretary General Cristina Palavay, and the victims' family. So our members are also mobilizing in The Hague, in the Netherlands, and of course here in Manila, there are also members of BAYAN who are closely monitoring the events, and we're in a watch viewing event in UP this afternoon.
And are there plans to continue convening together? Because this is a 4-day proceeding. So may mga plano po ba na magkaroon ng watch parties or pagtitipon until Friday?
Yep, we are prepared for that, and we will closely monitor and continue viewing the proceedings online until the end. And we are all hoping, together with the victims and their families, that this case will finally move forward and achieve justice for all of them.
And finally, sir, my question is, what's the significance of this confirmation of charges hearing today? It has finally happened. It's been delayed for about 5 months. It's been a year since former President Duterte was surrendered to The Hague in the Netherlands, but finally the arguments are being presented. The side of the victims are being heard before this international tribunal. How significant is this moment, especially for the victims?
Well, this is a watershed moment for the Philippines, especially in our fight against impunity. Remember that the president, in congressional hearings, he challenged the ICC to come after him, to get him. Sasampalin ko sila was what he said. He was clearly, at that time, unbothered by any action or possible repercussions of his drug war policy. He was very belligerent during his appearance in Congress. But, of course, things quickly changed when he was taken to The Hague. So that is really a lesson for current and future leaders that you cannot carry out impunity forever, and there will always be a time of reckoning for these kinds of acts, and this is what is happening right now. So we have to make sure that this reaches its logical conclusion and that such atrocities would never happen again in the Philippines.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us this evening. That was BAYAN President Renato Reyes.